to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say it. It's not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of being mean or spiteful. It's a matter of necessity.
The idea of an American citizen presenting himself or herself at the Canadian border and he's saying, I request asylum in Canada under Canadian law because I've been targeted for political persecution in the United States of America.
This is how extraordinary it is. I mean, you think about that for you. Think about that for Joe Biden, right? I mean, again, this seems, when you first think about it, like a crazy thing to think about. But if Trump decides, well, I'm going to try to lock up the former president who I just defeated in the election because I think he's a crook and he came after me and the members of the January 6th committee, you could envision a scenario that's not too many logical leaps from where we are now, where American politicians, incumbents or former politicians, have to flee the country because the president is going after them.
Rather, we are dealing with engineers who test prototypes and learn from misfires. In fact, I will argue, what the combined evidence highlights is that a particular highly ideological wing of corporate capital, one heavily and not coincidentally based in the fossil fuel sector, is so determined to shackle democracy to achieve their ends that they are starting to experiment with explosive tactics in the way their counterparts did in Italy in the 1920s and in Germany in the 1930s. We are seeing many corporate donors on the political right, among them some of the largest donors.
Why are we not sending an armed force north to liberate Canada from Trudeau? And I mean it.
Tucker Carlson, who was fired by Fox News last year, is often accused of spreading dangerous rhetoric and misinformation.
That is the topic of our upcoming Tucker Carlson Originals documentary, Oh Canada. Here's a first look at what we found.
People have to understand that the choice isn't between Democrats and Republicans. It's between democracy and autocracy. A society that functions fundamentally on the will of the people, where its elected leaders answer to the citizens, or a society that functions to serve the leaders and the citizens of the country answer to them. This isn't hyperbole or exaggeration. Our country is literally on the brink of becoming unrecognizable, and it's what we do with this information that will make the difference. You know that scene in a movie where the car goes careening off the road and hits the guardrails and spins out and is teetering on the cliff's edge, and everyone in the car is just trying to balance so they don't fall into the abyss? Well, that car is America, and the cliff is the midterms. If we lean the wrong way right now, we fall into autocracy and we won't be able to stop it. So we need to lean away from the cliff, and we need to convince the majority of the country to lean with us. I'm going to say some things today that you might find distressing. Things you might be tempted to ignore because they make you feel uncomfortable. I'm going to tell you things that you think can't be possible because it's just not the world you grew up in and you have no frame of reference for the path I'm taking you down. But I need you to understand where we are so you can situate yourself in that reality and we can work together to find our way out.
Hey everyone, it's Ken Harbaugh with the Midas Touch Network. Check out this incredible ad from VoteVets. I'll share my thoughts afterwards.
The most valuable weapon to the enemy is disinformation. That's why the Pentagon spends hundreds of millions training our troops to resist it. Yet at the same time, the U.S. military uses taxpayer-funded facilities to broadcast disinformation on military bases, knowingly letting false propaganda infiltrate the ranks. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity have open access to spread their conspiracy theories to U.S. troops. And now we know they knew they were lies, just to boost their ratings.
The outcome of our presidential election was seized from the hands of voters.
Disturbing irregularities have been found.
Every American should be angry. You should be outraged.
But behind the scenes, it was a different story. Carlson, Trump is a demonic force. He can easily destroy us. Hannity, Giuliani is acting like an insane person. Ingraham, such an idiot. Bayer, there is no evidence of fraud. Rupert Murdoch, Carlson, Hannity, and Ingraham should independently or together say something like, the election is over and Biden won. But they didn't, just to boost their ratings.
It's information warfare that divides the troops, hurts unit cohesion, weakens our readiness, and threatens our national security. And the lies how violent extremist groups recruits service members and veterans to turn on their oaths. A stunning 1 in 7 of the hundreds charged for their actions at the violent Capitol insurrection had military backgrounds. The armed services have a duty to maintain good order and discipline. There's no excuse for allowing anti-American, anti-democracy, anti-military disinformation in the barracks, in the chow hall, or anywhere our troops serve. The Pentagon needs to ban CARLSON, Ingram, and Hannity from all military facilities at home and abroad right now.
In my 9 years on active duty, politics was something we almost never talked about. Part of that was the information environment at the time. I'm giving away my age here, but we didn't have Facebook or Twitter or the million other options for getting news. And it was just much harder to get sucked into the conspiracy-driven stuff. But it was more fundamental than that. There was this foundational belief that we were all on the same team, Republican or Democrat. We put the country first. Don't get me wrong, I believe that our military today is the most effective fighting force the world has ever seen, but there are people trying to undermine that. We'll get to Fox News' assault on democracy in a minute. Let me start with something much easier to grasp. The anti-vax conspiracies pushed ad nauseum by Fox hosts like Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham. Those conspiracies had a measurable impact on America's military readiness, the number of discharges and court-martials, and now the fraction of those in uniform who cannot deploy because they refused the shots. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines who fell for Fox's lies became a drain on their units. While the vast majority of our men and women in uniform saw through those lies and trusted the science enough to get vaccinated, the entire vaccine drama was a terrible distraction for the military. Now put yourself in Vladimir Putin's shoes. What an incredible return on investment. All he had to do was contribute to the doubt in America about the vaccine using troll farms to funnel fake stories and statistics into online forums, then sit back and watch the enablers on Fox News elevate those conspiracy theories into the mainstream. Not a shot fired. And with a few keystrokes, those Russian propagandists were able to impact American military readiness. And Fox News was, and remains, all too eager to help. That's bad. A military that cannot vaccinate its own troops against an easily preventable disease because of conspiracy theories is a military that is less ready to defend the country.
A controversial right-wing commentator held the attention of thousands of Albertans, including the Premier this afternoon. Tim Brooke has more from inside the TELUS Convention Center today.
A year ago, he was fired from Fox News after a settlement over false American election claims. More recently, he called for the invasion and liberation of Canada. But right-wing commentator Tucker Carlson still draws a crowd.
The one and only Tucker Carlson.
A Calgary speaking event didn't make room for media, but CTV News was there to see Carlson take repeated aim at immigration and gender ideology. He also expressed disgust over what he believes are federal policies around drugs and medically assisted dying, purposely designed to attack Christian Canadians.
If you're hassling that group, maybe you've got another agenda that we should be concerned about, even if we're not in that group.
Much of the engagement had an undertone of anger and potential rebellion against the Trudeau Liberals.
This is not a political debate to which you've been invited to participate. This is a destruction of you and your culture and your beliefs and your children.
But when Premier Danielle Smith was brought on stage, the temperature was noticeably lower. Carlson and Smith did discuss the feds, but the Premier made sure to steer clear of the personality's more polarizing views.
But I accept interviews and have conversations with everyone.
They did seem to align on many issues. They discussed the power grid, COVID protests, and chatted at length about energy policy.
So I think we should just double down and decide we're going to double our oil and gas production.
Awesome.
What was great about it?
Just all the truth that was spoken.
Because it tells the truth.
Just a truth and honest conversation and saying what needs to be said.
It's the honesty, the common sense factor.
Experts speculate the premier attended to appease the more extreme side of her base.
I think she's very cognizant of keeping them on side, stacked against the reality that this is going to worry some moderate conservatives.
CARLSON's two-stop Canadian tour will wrap up in Edmonton. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
Roughly 4,000 people attended the event, which also featured discussions with polarizing figures Jordan Peterson and W. Brett Wilson.
Welcome back from the Fox studio lot in Los Angeles. We're happy to be here. For more than 100 years, the United States has, as a matter of official policy, opposed dictatorships around the world. But what if tyranny arrived right next door? What would that look like? And what would our government do in response? Would we liberate the people living under authoritarian rule as we have around the world?
Why should we stand back and let our biggest trading partner, the country with which we share the longest border, and actually, I could just say a great country. I love Canada. I've always loved Canada because of its natural beauty. Why should we let it become Cuba? Like, why don't we liberate it? We're spending all this money to liberate Ukraine from the Russians.
The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it.
Some nations may be able to turn a blind eye to atrocities in other countries. The United States of America is different.
Fortunately for the oppressed, America's influence is considerable.
Roger, target marked by Islam.
Oh, mankind. We like to say people kind.
Exactly.
All right.
The police then moved in and arrested me.
Bye, Daddy.
In the entire time that I was in prison.
They shot me point blank. My mouth, my nose, my eyes.
I received bruises. My hands were bleeding. You're placed under arrest right now.
I was arrested and cuffed and put in jail.
The greatest danger of all would be to do nothing.
We care about saving innocent lives.
The tyrant will soon be gone. The day of your liberation is near. The tyrant will soon be gone. Be gone. Be gone. The day of your liberation is near. Is near. Is near.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.